Hello and good evening for tonight's edition of Conversations with Camden, which is basically a virtual open house. So we would like to welcome you to the event tonight, and it's going to be an interesting event tonight as we approach graduation, which is next Sunday, May 18th. We're going to be talking with some senior cadets here at CMA as they get ready to embark on their journey onto college and life. But before they do, we want to talk about their experience here at Camden. While they've been here, there's been lots of challenges, obstacles, opportunities, celebrations, and now the biggest celebration of all, graduation, coming up on us. So we want you as viewers to experience those opportunities that they had here and discuss those with our young men. Please put any questions you have down in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on social media, just simply use the hashtag Camden Military, and we will get to as many questions as we can tonight for these young men. All right, before we get started, I do want to talk a little bit. I'm the Dean of Enrollment and Administration here at Camden Military, Casey Robinson, and I'd like to introduce you to Mac Trapp. He is the Associate Director of Admissions, and he's got some information about some upcoming in-person events that we have coming. Mac.
Everybody, yes, we do. We have our event tonight, which is a virtual event, but there's no better way to get a full experience of Camden than seeing us in person or coming and visiting us on campus. So we're going to be in some various places across Florida coming up here in the next month. We'll visit Miami and Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, all of those places. So we invite you to join us for one of those in-person events. Those are casual events and they're open for the whole family. So we invite you to bring student, grandparents, anybody who wants to get a feel for Camden and who might be involved with the decision making. And also joining us here on campus. We've got some on-campus open houses coming up. We've got one coming up on May 17th, the day before graduation. So if you're trying to talk to some cadets and see an active campus, that may be a good time to come view that, because after that, all these guys are going to be going their separate ways. But we do have some Saturdays scattered throughout the summer that you can come join us also and see campus in person. So again, keep an eye out. Also, we'll post some things on Facebook Lives or YouTube Lives or Zoom Q&As also if you can't make it in person. But yeah, we'd love for you to join us for an open house event.
All right. So now we're going to jump right in and bring some of our cadets in. Before we bring them in, though, I do want to say how proud I am of all these young men. They've all grown as students and athletes, cadets, and they all have, impeccable character. And I'm looking forward to seeing big things from them. But let's start off with introductions tonight, and we'll start out with Cadet Moore. If you'll tell us your name, where you're from, and maybe how long you've been here.
Hey, my name is Logan Moore. This is my 5th year at CMA. I came here in 8th grade. I'm currently a senior, and I'm from Edmond, Oklahoma.
All right. You're the senior statesman of the group, 5 years. Yeah, senior status. All right, let's go to Williams.
Hey guys, I'm Jaden Williams. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and this is my 4th year here, so I'm a senior.
All right. So you get the local award. You're the closest. And let's go to the flip side of that with Cadet Safarli.
Oh, hi
That's
guys.
Separate, but let's go. We'll go ahead with you, Separate.
All right, hi guys. Miles Safer. I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and this is my 2nd year here.
All right. Now we'll go to Safarli.
Hey guys. I'm from Athens, Greece, and it's my 3rd year here.
Okay. All right. And like I mentioned earlier, all these guys are seniors. And guys, what I want to know first is what most people ask when probably you tell them you go to Camden Military Academy. Why Camden Military for you? Why did you and your family start to explore the idea of Camden? And why did you end up choosing CMA? And Miles, we'll start with you.
All right. So my family chose CMA because there's structure here that you don't get at regular public schools. And there's a certain time management skills you can learn here that you don't get anywhere else, really. And so it's really just structure based, and you get discipline and other sorts of things.
Okay. And Cadet Williams, why don't you tell us your story? Why Camden?
So for me, it was actually my brother. He's an alumni at school, and he graduated in 2004. So the conversation we had because he told my parents that since I had to go here, he should have to go too. So that's pretty much what brought me here to Camden. And honestly, it's been a blessing that I've been here. So
And next, I want to hear from Cadet Safarli. So you're an international student, so you have a little bit of different angle on things. So Safarli, what brought you and your family to CMA?
Honestly, we had a family friend that went here a few years back. He recommended it. I need the discipline. I need the structure. We decided as a family that this would be the best bet for me. And it has been a blessing. And this place has taught me so much along the year.
Awesome. And then last Moore, give us your story.
Yeah, so about halfway through my 7th grade year, COVID hit and everything switched to online. And I just didn't do any of my work. And my mom was like, okay, I got to find a solution for this. So she looked for a school that still had in-person learning, and CMA stayed open throughout the entirety of COVID. And we took a tour over summer, and she was sold on it. And I've been here ever since.
All right. So guys coming to us for a variety of reasons. I will ask Mac now to kind of describe our typical student that we have coming into CMA.
Yeah, for sure. And, a lot of these guys gave some insight into what brought them here. And, myself and Casey Robinson, we talk a lot with families, prospective families and prospective students coming in. And that's a big question that I get is, what does your typical student look like? Typical student looks like all of these guys here, what they were struggling with beforehand. So time management skills, needing a little more structure, not working to their full potential, needing that more one-on-one time in class, because at a public school, it's not always the teacher to blame, but when you have a classroom full of 30 students or even more, you're not going to get that one-on-one time. So here at Camden, with the smaller class sizes, the more structured environment, you get that individual approach. And so our typical student looks very similar to what these guys were all struggling with. And a lot of things that we have set here in place, we can help them out with. So if your son has a certain learning challenge, also ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia, something that he needs a little more, one-on-one time with, or a little extra push with, we can definitely help him out with that too.
Great. And man, that was a good segue into kind of like the Camden difference. Why do people choose us? And I'm going to ask these guys a question. Maybe what do you think, or how does Camden offer the traditional learning experience maybe compared to your schools before coming to Camden? And guys, just to kind of give you some insight on what I'm talking about here, maybe talking about how we still use textbooks and still do some things that way. So Cadet Moore, why don't you start us out in that conversation?
Yeah, so before I came here, even when I was in middle school, we were just on Chromebooks the whole time in class. Like I remember in my first period science class, we would log in to our Chromebook, sit down, and there was a little bell ringer on the board, and it literally just had you looking up all the answers and putting them in a document and submitting it. And the Chromebooks, I just can't learn on them. So at Camden, the only time you're going to be using a laptop or a Chromebook is either for a research assignment in the library, or if you're taking our dual enrollment courses through the University of South Carolina. So we're very traditional, paper and pen, textbooks. The teacher's going to be at the board giving you notes. You're going to be taking hand notes. And I think that's been a lot better for me to learn.
Absolutely. Also, something else we hear a good bit is homework issues. Maybe students not doing their homework, get it completed and turned in on time, those type things. Saffron, how about you? How did that, were you a no homework guy before Camden? Has that changed any? And just talk a little bit about our study hall.
I personally am a no homework guy before I came here. And then when I came here, there was an emphasis on if you didn't turn in your homework, you would get in trouble and get certain punishments. And so during study hall, if I was struggling with any homework or anything, the AOC, which is a teacher who walks the hallways during study hall, I would ask him a question and he would help me with that homework if I needed any help with it.
All right. And William's kind of staying on that same track about Camden being different. Can you kind of describe the difference maybe between the teachers here at CMA and then maybe teachers from, your everyday public school? Are there any differences?
Yeah, for sure. So the teachers at Camden, I would say they're here or more for the students than at public school. I feel like they put in more for us. For example, we have tutorial. They have to stay here, between lunch and and class. So it's like a 20-minute period. They have to stay here. And, you know, of course, you mentioned the study hall as well. It's a mandatory, you know, hour and 30-minute time where you have to do your homework and stuff. So
Yeah, that is a big difference with that. How about let's go to Moore. Have you noticed any difference maybe between teachers here and teachers back at home?
Yeah, so when I was in, middle school, of course, back at home, it was a classroom full of 30 kids. So, to get one-on-one time with the teacher, it was very rare. Like, you're not going to really have that time. But here, most of my classes are, 8 to 12 people. So it's pretty small, relatively small. And you're able to go to the teacher anytime. Like, your teacher is going to be here probably from 7:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock. So, and you'll also be able to see them during study hall. So if you have questions and you just need more time to learn whatever subject you're learning, you can go before class, you can go after class. In public school, that's not really just available to you because, teachers have to cater to so many different types of students. But here, their focus is you. So you can get that individual learning.
All right. Now, so Farley, I hate to keep singling you out as the international guy, but can you kind of give us your slant, maybe how Camden was different from the school you attended prior to CMA?
So in my old school, classrooms would usually have 20, 30 kids. And then the teacher, we wouldn't really have a stronger connection with. We couldn't really go after school. We didn't have study hall, all these types of things. I feel like in Camden, the classes are smaller, so the students get more individual time with the teachers, as Moore said. And that's one of the biggest changes I noticed when I came over here for school. I had more of a connection with my teacher, and I could get the help I needed.
All right. Now, of course, you guys, 4 teenage boys. I'm sure when you heard we were in an all-male boarding school, you weren't too excited about, not seeing girls or not having girls here. But do any of you see any benefit to that with being in an all-male boarding school versus, co-ed? We'll start out with Moore.
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely a difference between, being all male and like a public school where it's co-ed. Because, when you're in public school, there's distractions. The girls, you want to dress to impress, be funny to make them laugh, whatever it is. But here, everybody wears the same uniform every day. You don't have to worry about dressing nice. Your haircuts are all relatively the same as well. So you're not really worried about being judged or anything. And also the teachers can cater to the students a little differently because, boys learn different than girls. So I think the teachers are able to, focus their lessons more for guys. And I think it works a lot better.
Yeah. So Mac, why don't you talk a little bit about that? What's different about the way boys learn maybe compared to girls or even being in co-ed?
Yeah, I think there's a twofold to not only being a full boarding environment, but being that all male environment. With the boarding environment, we're an immersive learning environment. So our students are learning here, they're living here, they're playing sports here. It's that boarding school difference. And I think that's what separates us from, every public school and even some charter schools, because you may get some of the same things, but you're not going to get that immersive environment. I like to say it a lot, especially talking back to study hall. Maybe at home here we're big on peer mentorship, and maybe at home you might have a friend in class who's really good at chemistry. He's 3 blocks away from you, where here he's 3 doors down. So you're able to go talk to him and get that extra help. And teachers are going to be here after hours. They're going to be here during study hall. They're going to maybe get here a little earlier in the morning. So if you want to grab breakfast and come meet with them in the morning, we can do that. So it's just, again, I think it's just that immersive environment, learning, building those skills, life skills outside of even the classroom. And then, the biggest distraction for a boy, I was a teenage boy once, and it's girls, and being able to separate that distraction from the guys we have here, we can cater to them being boys. And a lot of times I tell parents, we can let boys be boys, and, we can cater to their extra energy in class, and we can cater to their attention span in class, and, do things that put that in a positive light. So we have PT in the morning. And so when they're in class, they're not jittery and trying to run all over the place. So we can just redirect everything that a teenage boy may struggle with here at Camden.
All right, good stuff. Now we've had a question come in from X, so I want to jump on that one. What was the hardest part of adjusting to life at Camden? What was the hardest part of adjusting to life at Camden? Let's start out with the old timer more. We'll let you start first.
I'd say the hardest part of adjusting to life at Camden is the structure we have here. You know, everything's on a set schedule. You wake up at 6 a.m. every day and you're going to bed by 10 p.m. every day. When I was home, you know, I kind of just rolled out of bed whenever I felt like, you know, and went to school and then came home and I had no schedule. You know, I did what I want until 10 p.m., 11 p.m., whenever I went to bed. But definitely adjusting to the schedule here, you know, everything is, there's a, you know, time that you have to be there, when you have to be there, why you have to be there. It's all explained to you. And so I'd say the structure is definitely the hardest part for me.
Okay. And Miles, let's hear from you because you entered later in high school.
Also, the structure was pretty hard, but another thing is making friends there. So I started out, I didn't make friends until about like 2 weeks in because I was scared that people were going to judge me and all that. But they really didn't, and they accepted me in after I just talked to them a little bit, got to know them. And yeah, that was just the hardest part for me for adjusting.
Okay. Yeah, and you brought up friends, so I kind of want to talk about the brotherhood. We hear that a lot here at CMA, and a lot of our advertising, we talk about the brotherhood. And these guys get some really strong bonds. And so, guys, you've been here, you're graduating. I want you to kind of look back over the years that you've been here. And can you just share a moment maybe of, you know, a fond memory that you'll have of CMA that you'll look back on years later and really appreciate? Let's start with Williams on that one.
So about the brotherhood, I would say, you know, it's definitely a big thing here. I'll give you an example. So my freshman year, you know, I was kind of struggling a little, just adjusting. And I had a senior cadet, you know, try to help me out, you know, figuring out, you know, how I was going to make it here. And he didn't have to do that, but he did it out the kindness of his heart. So I feel like the brotherhood here is definitely a thing.
All right. And so Farley, how about you? Have you ever had like a good brotherhood moment that you can share with us? Any experiences on trips or just maybe everyday life?
I would say the sports here, the soccer team. I had a lot of amazing moments here with them, and the cross country team as well. It felt like we were part of a second family away from home. I really enjoyed the extracurriculars here.
Awesome. All right, guys, something I kind of want to take a little spin here, turn the wheel and talk about personal responsibility and being accountable and all those fun things that we try to work on and really, you know, put a lot of emphasis on here at CMA. So or let me ask it this way, I guess, what traits have you picked up at CMA that may benefit you in the future moving forward, whether it be in college or just in life in general? And we'll start this one with, we'll go back to Moore.
I'd say one of the biggest traits I've probably picked up at Camden Military is, you know, being punctual, time management. Like I was saying before, how we have the set schedule, you know, if you're not there on time, you know, there's going to be a consequence to that. So you need to be where you're supposed to be. And also being a leader goes along with that. So let's say you're the cadet first sergeant of a company. It's your responsibility to get your company to the dinner formation. You know, if you don't get them there on time, they're late, they're early, whatever it is, you know, you're going to suffer the consequence from that. So definitely being punctual and time management.
Good job. And how about Safrit? How about share something maybe that you've learned here that you'll take with you through James Madison to help you in college?
100% keeping my room clean. At home, my room was a mess completely. And here, this place has taught me how to like get right up out of bed immediately when they call the formation in the morning to wake up, and just get your room squared away at the beginning of the day. So it makes your life way easier throughout the day. You don't have to be kicking stuff out of the way to find other things, and it just makes it so much easier to find stuff in your room.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'll make good husband material later down the road too. So, all right. So I want to talk a little bit now about your growth and your change, your transformation here at Camden. You know, look back at maybe who you were when you first entered CMA. How have you changed? Have you grown and developed? Has anything changed? Williams, we'll start with you.
I would say for sure, just me as a person, just like my overall character and just like my study habits for sure. Before I came to Camden, they were not the best. And just doing homework, especially, I would just throw the homework in my bag and stuff. Here, everybody, you know, the teachers, they notice that you can't get away with that type of stuff here. So I feel like I've definitely improved with that.
Okay. All right. So Farley, how about you? Have you picked up something here that maybe will help you in either college or in life in general?
I'd say public speaking skills was a big thing for me because I used to be really shy before I came here. I couldn't talk in front of big crowds. After I came here, it got a little bit of getting used to. But after that, I could talk to everyone. I could talk to a large group of people and be a leader.
More, I want to hear about you, the little 7th grader that came from Oklahoma, and now you're a senior. What's the biggest change you've noticed in yourself?
For me, it was just, stepping up to take charge, because when I was home, I was kind of shy. I kind of sat in the back of class. I messed around a little bit, but I was never the guy to, go, I'm going to take charge. I'm going to lead this. I'm going to do something. But here I was kind of pushed to do that. So I've taken charge. I wanted to lead, and I enjoy doing that. So that's definitely something I picked up.
One question I want to ask us, Ifrit, this one's going to come to you. Have you ever had like an aha moment where you were at Camden and realized, hey, maybe this is the right thing for me? Because I know for most young men, when I talk to them initially, or Mac talks to them, they're not super excited about going to military school. But was there ever a moment, Miles, when it just kind of clicked and said, maybe I made the right decision?
Yes. For me, last year when I got here, I want to say about 2 or 3 months in. Way before that, I didn't want to be here. I was just acting out and all that. And then 3 months in, it clicked, and I'm like, I need to square up, get good grades, because my dad's spending this money for me to come here just for me to waste it. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. So I got squared up. I did what I was supposed to do, got good grades, kept everything clean, did all my stuff. And yeah, I just didn't want to waste money.
That's a good lesson to keep in your back pocket as well. Don't waste money. So Farley, you're a little different. I mean, I think when I met you, you guys were from Azerbaijan, maybe living there at the time. And, Camden Military is a long way South Carolina's a long way from Azerbaijan. So tell me what's some ways you've changed maybe and grown since you've been here at CMA?
Honestly, when I first came here, I was really homesick. It was my first time away from my family. It was my first time alone in a different country. It got a few months of getting used to. I was really scared. I sometimes would cry. But the people here, our techs, our teachers, and my friends, obviously, they made me feel at home. It was like my second home away from my family. For me, after a few months here, once I saw that my grades were improving, my parents could tell that my discipline was improving. But for me, it clicked. From that point on, I knew that this was the place for me.
All right, good stuff. All right, we're going to go back to some questions, but I do want to take a minute to remind our viewers, if you have questions, please just place them there in the YouTube chat, or you can place them on any social media platform and use the hashtag Camden Military, and we'll get as many of those questions tonight as possible. Mac Trapp, I'm going to throw it to you for a question coming in from Facebook. How many years do you guys typically attend CMA, and is there a summer program that helps with the adjustment and making friends?
Yeah, so good question. Typical stay with us here at Camden is about 2 years, and that just varies through every student. Most of the time when we talk to families, obviously 2 years, it's the why didn't you return? It could be financial obligations. It could be that they moved somewhere. It just depends. But average stay with us is about 2 years. However, it just goes to show tonight, talking to all of these guys that we've got across the board, Moore's been here for 5 years, and Miles has been here for 2 years, and it just depends. So most of the time when we get students, either their 9th or 10th grade year, they're going to spend the entirety of their high school career with us and graduate here at Camden. So one of the things that one of the stories I've had is I got pretty close to a dad that had a son here, and son came here for his 9th and 10th grade year. Wanted to try school again, his public school back home for his junior year. About halfway through the year, I get a call from dad, and he goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know he wants to come back." And I was kind of taken aback by that. But he told me that the structure and all the freedom he had in public school just wasn't working for him. So it was kind of a little bit of a self-checker, and he ended up coming back to us and finishing out his senior year and graduating here from Camden. So definitely case by case. Second part of your question about summer program, we do have a summer program here at Camden. It's a 3-week program, the last 3 weeks of July. It's more academic driven. So no uniforms, no haircuts. It's not quite as military as the normal school year. It is a good way that you can get your feet wet, kind of test the waters. And then you can also make friends that will probably return for the school year. And also you'll get to meet TAC officers and teachers and faculty, because all of the same faculty that work the summer program are going to be the same teachers and TAC officers they're going to know coming into the school year. So hope that answered that question for you.
Yes, good job. All right, so now we want to talk about a daily schedule. We have a question coming in on YouTube. What's the daily schedule look like? So guys, we'll use 2 of you for this. Let's wake up with More. More, you take us through lunch, and then we'll switch over to Williams for lunch through lights out.
Yeah, so you wake up at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. By 6:15, you'll get your hygiene done, probably be dressed. 6:30, your room should be clean. That means like trash taken out, floor vacuumed, uniforms hung up. If you didn't hang it up the night before, desk cleaned off, whatever it is. 6:30 to 7, you're going to be doing fallouts in the barracks, sweeping, mopping, cleaning the mirrors, cleaning the sinks, basic household chores. And then from 7 to 8 o'clock, you'll have breakfast. And then after breakfast at 8 o'clock, you'll have either drill, which is just basic marching, or physical training, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, basic stuff. Sometimes flag football, sometimes dodgeball. Wednesdays, we have LET, which is JROTC. There's LET 1 through 4. You'll take it your freshman year, end it your senior year. And then after that, you'll go back to your room, have about 15-30 minutes from 9 to 9:30, catch up on homework or whatever it is that you need to do. 9:30 to 11:45 is class, first through third period. At 11:45, that's tutorial. You can either go back to your room, play on your phone, finish up homework from the night before, or get that one-on-one time with the teacher in tutorial. And then lunch is right after that at 12.
All right. Williams, how about you pick it up from 4th period on?
So after lunch, you'll have, your last 3 periods. Class ends at around 3:15. Then after 3:15, you'll have like your sports practices. And if you have a club, you have a club. So you get about 2 hours for free time. We'll have like a formation before dinner. So that's at like 5:50. And then dinner is at 6 o'clock. You get about 45 minutes to eat. And then after you come back from dinner, we'll have study hall. So it's like a 2-hour period, and it ends at 9 o'clock. After study hall, you have lights out, and then repeat.
All right. Good job. So that's our typical day here at CMA. All right, kind of want to veer again and switch and talk about self-confidence. I know a lot of you guys have, had some struggles, and you've persevered and made it through to the other side. Can any of you share any experience maybe that, something didn't go just as planned here at CMA and you pushed through and you made it and you felt better about yourself on the other side? More, let's start with you.
I'd probably say my 8th grade year. I got the rank of sergeant at the end of the year. And then when I came back for my freshman year, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a squad leader. It's going to be nice and cool. But we actually got a new TAC from Charlie Company. He moved down to Delta, First Sergeant Hester. And I was not a squad leader. He picked another cadet. I was pretty disappointed by that. I ended up being the assistant squad leader. But after about a month or 2, he noticed that, I was probably trying harder than this squad leader was. So he promoted me, and, I got through that. And ever since then, it's been good.
Mm-hmm. Safrit, how about you? Or Safrit, sorry, I still want to call you Safrit. How about tell me a challenge maybe that you've had here at CMA that you pushed through and you feel better about yourself for doing so?
One of the challenges this year was probably joining the football team. I joined late in the season, about halfway through, and I didn't really feel comfortable on the team, and I wasn't getting any play time. And so to work through that, I went to the gym more, and I got bigger, stronger, and I got to know more players on the team too, and I got to know the coaches, and I studied the plays also, and that helped me just get through and become a starter on the team.
Good job. And let me follow that up with you a minute, Safrit. Do you think if you would have been maybe at home or a public school, would you have done that?
No, not at all. Definitely not at a public school, because there was just a bunch of people there that were just better than me. So,
yeah. All right. Now I want to talk about self-confidence. So Farley, I know you mentioned earlier about, your public speaking skills kind of improved. But do you feel like your self-confidence has improved at all?
Definitely, definitely. When I first came here, I was shy again. This place has taught me how to speak to a large group of people. When I first came here in 10th grade, I was given the rank of corporal. I was in charge of 10 people. I thought that was the biggest thing ever. I would I would lead them, and throughout the years, as I got a higher rank, I realized that the more people I get to lead, the more my confidence rises. So, in that aspect, the school's helped me a lot.
Okay. Williams, same question for you. Has your self-confidence or the confidence grown within you? Tell us about that.
For sure. And I would say it's kind of the same situation with Farley. I kind of have problems, with public speaking as well. But I feel like Camden definitely pushes you into like situations that you would never have, like, at a public school. Like these leadership roles, I feel like that's a big factor that helps out.
Yeah. So let's talk about that leadership. What's some opportunities you guys have had here at Camden that maybe you wouldn't have had if you would have been in a different setting? I think we'll go with more again. What's some opportunities you've had here at CMA that maybe you wouldn't have received elsewhere?
Well, one opportunity for me was definitely the dual enrollment courses. I know that's maybe not what you were looking for with leadership, but in high school and even when I was in middle school, like I didn't do my work. I didn't do my homework. I was a last minute type of guy. I would just turn it in with whatever I had on it. I didn't really care. So my GPA probably wouldn't have even been high enough to take the dual enrollment courses. Here, since I was getting my work done in class and finishing my homework during study hall, I had a high enough GPA to take dual enrollment courses. It worked out great for me because I'm going into the University of South Carolina already as a sophomore. So that's definitely helped me out a lot.
All right, good job. And Saffron, tell us a little bit about maybe a leadership opportunity that you had here at Camden that maybe you wouldn't have had as well.
So I got the rank of first lieutenant on battalion staff this year, and I wouldn't have got that anywhere else. And it's just given me an opportunity to learn how to lead a lot of people. And so that can help me when I become a manager of an office someday, or a manager of some restaurant or something like that.
Great. All right, guys, we have another question coming in now on YouTube, or actually from X. What clubs and activities are available? Mac, we'll throw that over to you.
Yeah, so one thing here at Camden, we're big on involvement, and I'm sure all of these guys, we got a good panel tonight because they've definitely gotten involved in sports, athletics, extracurricular activities, but we've got about 12 different varsity and junior varsity sports that students can play, all the way from football and cross country in the fall to spring, which is our busiest time, with track and soccer and lacrosse and baseball. And then in the wintertime, we've got wrestling and basketball. So pretty much year-round sports, and we don't limit students to what they want to play. So if you want to play a couple of sports in the same season, we don't have any problem with that. And, one of the guys on here, Miles, tonight, he actually joined up with the scuba diving club. So he became a certified scuba diver this year. So scuba diving, you can take pilot's lessons here, along with National Honor Society, junior leadership, a lot of ability for community service, and just different extracurricular activities. I think some of the guys have gone off campus to, do ballet shows and all kinds of stuff. So whatever interest level you have, you can probably find it here.
Yeah. Our band actually performed tonight on the town green. I haven't heard how that went yet, so I'm hoping it went well. There was a big festival in the town green. All right. We're going to kind of veer again and talk about other things outside of academics that Camden offers. So guys, you all know that we put a big emphasis on character. And what's some opportunities you have at Camden, or what's some ways that maybe you feel like you've improved your character since you've been here at CMA? Williams, we'll start with you.
So for me, it was definitely Boy Scouts. Public school definitely does not have that. Without Camden, I wouldn't have gotten my Eagle Scout. I just got mine 2 months ago, so I'm just going to brag about it a little bit. But yeah, Boy Scouts is definitely a big thing here. Very supportive.
More, how about you?
I'd say one thing that, that's helped me improve my character is probably like learning how to lead by example. I used to kind of be a follower, just follow what the crowd does, and mess around. But when you become a leader here, you have to do the right thing as well to show the kids that you're leading, that you're a good leader. So definitely learning how to lead by example for me.
Awesome. Good stuff. And so Farley, I'll give you a shot at the same question.
I'd say the same as more. After you become a leader, all eyes are on you to do the right thing. So if you're goofing off doing the wrong thing, then your cadets or the ones that you're leading won't be able to look up to you the same.
All right. And guys, we also know that, we advertise and we're proud that we work to develop the whole young man. So we work, academically, athletically, militarily, and even spiritually. And more, could you tell us a little bit about maybe the spiritual component here at CMA?
Yeah. So when I was home, I honestly didn't really go to church that much, but since I've been here, I have. But on campus, every Sunday we have on-campus church. Every Wednesday night we go to off-campus church as well, if you'd like to. But Sunday it is required that you go. I also personally choose to go to off-campus Baptist church every Sunday, which I personally enjoy a lot. So being able to grow spiritually here, it's made it a lot easier for me. We also have morning prayer around the circle every Monday. And the chaplain reads an inspirational quote at the beginning of each week in the dining hall.
All right. And Williams, how about you? Any spiritual component that you've especially enjoyed here at CMA?
Definitely like the Wednesday night off-campus churches or off-campus church service that the chaplain does sometimes. So he does it at his own church, and I think it's pretty cool. They have like games and stuff, and it gives you a chance to like socialize with the other kids that aren't at Camden as well. So I think that's really cool. And we get Chick-fil-A as well after, so also very cool as well. So.
That's always nice. Must be a Baptist church because Baptists like to eat whenever they gather. All right, Mac, can you kind of talk to us about the whole faith component? I mean, is it a requirement to be a Christian at CMA? Those type things.
Right. No. So, I mean, we've got guys from all over the United States. We've also got guys from other countries that are international students with us. So, being a Christian is not a box you have to check being here at Camden Military Academy. But we do want to build that spiritual side of the young man. A lot of times, too, we kind of phrase it in, it gives guidance to life. So, how to make good decisions, and going back to talking about leadership, how to be a good leader and how to take these components of faith and spirituality and put those into practice in everyday life. And, I think Colonel Bolin, our headmaster, was given service, or he had talked at the morning prayer around the circle. And he said, just give someone a comment today, a good comment. Say, hey, your uniform looks good, or, I hope you have a great day. And what he was trying to get across is most of the time you're going to get a comment back just like that. And so, again, that's just being a well-rounded young man. And we do hope that students, find faith or find their spirituality here and can really put some emphasis on that through church or through, again, off-campus church, Bible groups, FCA retreats, any of those things that maybe can help strengthen, their personal spirituality. Yes.
All right. All right, guys. Now we're going to start looking ahead just a little bit and talk about next year for you. Safford, you're going to James Madison. And what's something you've picked up here at CMA that you just that's going to make a difference in how you perform academically and just in your personal life when you go to James Madison?
Definitely time management skills that I've learned here. Those will help me set aside time for homework. And so I'll know when I need to do homework and for how long. And then I can set aside time to have fun with other things and go out and socialize.
All right. And so Farley, you're going to have to share with us where you're going to school and maybe even tell everybody where it is because I had no clue. But what's it going to be like for you? What's something you're going to take with you to Spain next year?
I'm going to IE Business School. It's a college in Madrid, Spain. The biggest thing I'm going to take there is taking responsibility for my actions. That's one of the biggest things I learned here. If I mess up, if I do something wrong, I'm the one that's going to be accountable. I can't go around blaming other people.
Very good. Very good. Now, my last two guys are both going to the University of South Carolina, both Gamecocks, go Cox. But anyway, Moore, let's hear from you. What's something you think will help you be successful next year at USC?
Being able to wake myself up in the morning. So since I'm on battalion staff, we are in the banded staff barracks, but the first sergeant, it's not his job to get us up in the morning. It's my job to get myself up in the morning, which is really hard when I try to go to bed, at 10, 11, and wake up at 6, and I do not want to get out of bed in the morning. So, just being able to get up and start getting things done is probably something that I'll take with me to USC.
Good. And I'm really proud of Moore because he was accepted to Oklahoma, being from Oklahoma, and a bunch of other schools, and he chose USC. So proud of you. No boomer sooner here. All right. Williams, how about you? Tell me something you're going to take with you from Camden to USC next year.
Definitely kind of what Seyfried said, just the time management and, study skills, especially just, being able to take away, an hour or so to study, because I definitely would not do that without this place.
All right. Okay, guys, now this is a little bit of a deep question, all right? So we're getting philosophical. Tomorrow, if you had to give a piece of advice and mentor a new cadet that was either thinking about coming or it was his first day, what's a piece of advice that you would give him? And we'll start that off with Seyfried.
So a piece of advice I would give somebody that was coming here would be, don't procrastinate and do what you're told 100%.
All right, good. That's very good advice. And Moore.
A piece of advice I'd give, a new cadet would probably just be, stick with it. It's going to be tough. It was tough for all of us, but we all got through. We're all seniors. We're all graduating. Keep your head up. You're going to get through this, and just stick it out.
And so Farley.
I'd say whatever you put into Camden Military is what you're going to get out of it. You have to come in with a strong, positive attitude, and you'll get the same out of the school.
That's awesome. All right. Williams, I didn't give you a chance. Let's go to you. What's a piece of advice you have for a new student?
Piece of advice I would give is just definitely get involved. Camden has a lot of stuff to offer that most public schools don't have. So just get involved, and your life could be amazing.
All right. Now, guys, kind of a fun question. I want to know your favorite experience or memory that that you'll think about years from now that you've had. It could be, a lesson that you've learned. It could be a fun ski trip or something in between. And we'll just run the gamut again. We'll start with Seyfried.
All right. A fun experience I had here was during recall one night on Saturday night at about 7:30 or so. We were playing football on the football field. A bunch of us guys, we were playing tag football. And that was just honestly some of the most fun I've ever had. And I just love that experience.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to have, 200 plus guys ready to pick up and, play football at night or want to play basketball. There's always somebody looking to do what you're looking to do. Let's go to Moore. Same question.
For me, it was playing volleyball behind Delta. If it was raining or it was freezing outside, or if it was super hot out, we were always out there playing volleyball. And I'll just never forget that. It was always so fun being out there playing with all the seniors.
Yeah, I will never forget that either, because I think there was a big, huge group of volleyball players this year. And of course, that volleyball court is right next to my house. So we would hear you Sunday afternoon nap time sometimes. So yeah, I won't forget that either.
Sorry about that.
Let's see. So Farley, favorite memory or experience?
For me, when it snowed, I think it was January or February, everyone was outside, everyone was playing with snowballs. That was one of my favorite moments I had at Camden Military. It was so fun.
All right. And Williams?
So for me, I would say definitely junior year. We had the ski trip, and that was my first time ever skiing in my life. So we went up there, and since I didn't know how to ski, I had my friends teach me. So I think that was really cool for me to do that.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a kind of a fun question, an unplanned question. I can't wait to hear these answers. I want you to tell me one thing that you will miss about CMA next year, and then tell me one thing that you will not miss about CMA next year. All right. Moore, we're going to start with you this time.
For me, one thing I'm going to miss is definitely playing on the soccer team. I hadn't played since my 8th grade year. I decided to join my senior year for varsity, and I had some fun. I really enjoyed it, and I honestly regret not playing in the years before. But one thing that I will not miss is hearing Reveille at 6 a.m. every single morning. I cannot stand the sound of that.
All right, Safford, what's one thing that you'll miss and one thing you want?
One thing I'll miss is just hanging out in like a big group of guys from all over the world and all over the country. Like you can't really do that anywhere else. And one thing I will not miss is standing in formation before every meal. That will not miss it.
I hear you. I hear you. So Farley, same question.
For me, what I won't miss, first of all, is the dinner formations and waking up in the morning, but also going to sleep that early. Personally, I don't like that. I'm sorry, could you repeat the first part of the question, please?
Yeah, just what one thing you will miss and then one thing you won't miss. Yep.
What I'll miss is my friends, because I've gone years at a time, 24/7, months at a time with these people, and once I leave, I'm not going to be able to see them, maybe some of them ever. So that's going to be one of my biggest things.
Yeah. And Williams, close it up with you.
So for me, one thing I'll definitely miss is going to be, the teachers, the faculty. They help every single one of these cadets here. So I feel like we owe them. And one thing I definitely will not be missing is having to go play a reveille in the morning at 5:50 in the morning in the cold.
I hear you. Okay, guys, we're getting close to the end here. So if you have any questions, please get them into that chat or post them on our social media using the hashtag Camden Military. But we do have a question here from Facebook. It says, what do your parents think about your experience at Camden? Guys, I want you to go a little deeper than that. Have your relationships with your family changed any since you've been at Camden? Safford, we'll start with you.
My parents think Camden has really changed me. They have seen me change from a child who argued with them all the time to a respectable young man that respects them and their space and just doesn't argue about silly, stupid stuff.
Good stuff. And more, how about you?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, tell me just your relationship with your parents. Has it changed any or morphed any since you've been here?
Yeah, so since being here since 8th grade, I've basically grown up at Camden, which is kind of funny to say. But my mom's definitely seen that I've changed into a more responsible person. But I think our relationship has also gotten better because before, when I was home, I was kind of disconnected. I was just playing video games, doing my online schoolwork on a Chromebook. I wasn't really interacting with her. But when I would come home for our breaks, like our Christmas break or summer, I had nothing better to do other than interact with her and hang out. So I think our relationship has grown.
Good. And so, Farley, we're going to change the question a little bit for you. How about, pride? Does your dad ever tell you, he's proud of you for this, or, what's that dynamic like?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. I feel like I disappointed my parents before. I made a few mistakes before I came here. After I've been here, my parents have constantly told me how proud of me they are and proud of everything I've achieved so far since I've been staying here.
Williams, how about you? Kind of the same question.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah. What's something, has your relationship changed with your parents? And maybe, how do you think they feel about your whole Camden experience?
I would say so for sure, especially my mom. I know it's definitely been, hard for both of my parents because I've been away for so long because, I've been here for 4 years, but, they see me, making Instagram videos for the school and stuff. And they just tell me how proud of me they are. So I feel like our relationship has definitely grown. I come home, I do what I'm supposed to do and, I keep it rolling.
Okay. All right, guys, kind of another fun question. You're coming to the end of your time here at Camden. What do you want to leave Camden? What's the mark that you want to leave on Camden, or maybe have Camden remember about you once you've gone? More.
For me, a mark I want to leave, since I'm one of the S5s, I run our social media, is being known as one of the best S5s the school's ever had. But, I think the videos I've produced this year and the year before have been really good. And I just want people to know that I did my hardest and tried my best on them.
Good stuff. And we appreciate that too, by the way. Williams, how about you? What's your mark that you would like to leave on CMA?
One thing I want to leave at CMA is definitely like my character. I want to make sure, that I'm held to like a higher standard, especially me being on the battalion staff. So I want to make sure that people know, that I was a good person. I was always following or doing what I was supposed to be doing as well. So,
okay. Safford, years from now, what do you want me and Major Trap to remember about you? What's your mark?
What I want y'all to remember about me is probably being the best lacrosse player that's ever came to this school, but that's probably not the case.
All right. So Farley, how about you, bud? What do you want us to remember about you years from now?
I'd say I'm one of the most interesting people y'all will ever meet because of my background, because of the countries I've been to, and all of that.
Yeah, and tell us how many languages you can speak, because that was pretty impressive.
I know 6 languages right now. I'm trying to learn Spanish here. I've been studying for 3 years, but yeah.
Spanish, that's definitely needed if you're going to live in Spain, right? So, yeah. All right, guys, to kind of wrap things up, last question for the night. We did a little video with some of our seniors yesterday called Letters from Home, and there'll be a video coming out in the next week that I encourage you guys to look out for on YouTube, where the parents are talking about the pride they have in their graduates and their young men here at CMA. But guys, I want you all to take a minute and talk to your parents. So if you were fortunate enough to participate in the letters, I want you to kind of give a verbal letter to your parents. I mean, coming to Camden is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice financially. It's a sacrifice emotionally, mentally. So what do you have to say to your parents? And we will start with Sofarli.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. So your parents, I mean, they made sacrifices for you coming here. I'm sure they've missed you at home and just you being around. What do you have to say? Do you thank them or do you not thank them?
Of course, I would thank them for sending me here. I've changed so much. I feel like without this place, I wouldn't be where I am now, and I wouldn't be going where I'm going after I'm done with here. And I want to thank them for all the sacrifices they've made with sending me here.
Awesome. Moore, how about you?
Yeah, I just want to thank my mom for sending me here. I thought it was hard for me, but then when I read her letter from home just a day ago, I found it was harder for her than it was for me. And I think that's just what I didn't realize while I was here. What impact is this school having on her compared to what it's having on me? And it was hard for her. It was a financial burden. She missed me. I missed her. But I just want to say thank you, Mom.
Safford, how about you?
I just wanted to thank my dad and my mom very much for sending me here. It's changed me so much. And I didn't realize that my dad missed that so much time without me, and my mom did too. And it's just wanted to thank them very much for giving me this opportunity to grow and be disciplined.
All right. And Williams, we're going to close it with you.
Mom and Dad, I just want to thank you so much for sending me here. I know it was definitely, a sacrifice to send me here as well, just me being away from home, but thank you. And I love y'all so much. My brother, he told me a while ago, he was like, you're going to thank us, for sending you here. And I'm starting to see that now. So thank you to my brother as well.
All right. Good job, guys. You guys can take a breath. You're done with questions for tonight. But Mac, if you will, remind everyone how they can learn more about CMA. We have some virtual events, in-person events. Tell us about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I do want to say something to these guys, just, watching them answer these questions. And I think Moore mentioned it, that he had grown up at Camden, and, the faculty, we see that too. So, we're proud of them. Parents are proud of them, but, we know they're going on to do bigger and better things too. So, but yeah, like I mentioned at the start, no better way to come see us in person. We do individual tours anytime, Monday through Friday. We do have some upcoming open houses on weekends if those work better for you. We'd love to talk to you. We can also put you in touch, Zoom wise with a student if your son wants to talk to one of our current cadets here. If if you want to know more about Camden, if you want to start the admissions process, reach out to us by phone, fill out our online application to get the process started. It's as easy as that. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to talk to your son. We'd love to show you around campus. We'd love to show you why Camden's different and why it could be the best decision for your son moving forward and for his growth and his betterment. So, yeah, me or Casey would love to talk to you anytime.
All right. And yeah, I kind of want to piggyback on what Mac said. Guys, I'm proud of all you guys. I know it, going to military school, like I said earlier, is not at the top of every young man's list. And so you guys, I talked about your parents making sacrifices. You guys made some sacrifices being here too. And, you push through and you're at the finish line. So don't drop the baton right now. Okay. You've got 8 days. So not too long. And people that are watching, every young man has potential, and sometimes he just needs to be in the right environment, the right setting to be able to unlock it, just like these 4 guys here. So guys, good luck. Godspeed to you for next year. And we'll definitely be missing you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, all the viewers tonight, for joining us. And we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you at an open house event, either on campus or virtually, very soon. Have a good night.